Are you drunk still?
I'm slightly tipsy.
Slightly?
Slightly.
Yeah, this is going to be a great podcast, everyone. And that's the intro.
Slightly tipsy.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Throwing Tantrums. This is another solo podcast featuring one of the assistant artistic directors. We have Liz here. She's got the old lady Karen haircut, as you can see.
It's called Tita. It's not Karen. It's Tita. Okay.
So this is a solo podcast. Is an opportunity for me to kind of pick their brains, and also for you guys to get an opportunity to know them beyond the dance and whatnot. It is super crazy late right now. It is 1:09.
It's 1:09 Pacific time.
AM Pacific, because we just went in on a bender of a deep conversation of like
business finances,
and what we envision for our businesses. It was the good kind of conversation.
It was good.
So I came here at 9. Originally supposed to be giving a check, but now different. But I mean, yeah, we're here. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Start with, I guess, name, how you got started to dance, and what you do.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Liezel Marie. I've been dancing. I live, breathe, and eat dance. I've been dancing since I was 3. I loved choreographing ever since I was like in middle school and high school. And like I love giving that educational opportunities. Thanks to Emeroy, we hit Staples Center stage together.
Oh, yeah,
we also hit like all over the world. We hit with Antics. We did like Gillette. We did Wyoming. We did, oh my God, there's like so many states. I can't even think about it. Like Iowa, like Seattle. Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We also shared City Walk, Universal Studios stage together, Carnival Choreographers Ball, Club Jeté, beautiful stages. And I'm blessed. And now I'm currently a professor that Emeroy is totally against. And I'm very thankful that I am in that industry and education. And yeah, I'm very honored to be a part of this podcast.
Anyone, I mean, I'm not entirely against academia, but
is.
there is some, yeah, I mean, there's some parts. If you're going to be a doctor, I feel like that makes sense. But if you're going to be a graphic designer, I think you're better off learning from YouTube.
No, you're right. And he is absolutely right. I will say that. But he knows me. I love giving meaningful experiences to those who don't know where to go.
That's true. Yeah. So how did you get into dance? And at what point did you know that you wanted to make this into a career? I'm trying to make this is the part where they get to fucking know about you. I'm trying to, you motherfucker.
I was forced into it originally by my parents because of that old school 1970 movie, Annie.
Oh, wow.
It's because of that show, the tap dancing show, Annie, and her inspiration of how she did tap dancing within Broadway. My mom wanted to enroll me into dance classes, and it was originally because of tap dance. It's interesting. Not a lot of people know that tap dance, and then it evolved to ballet, jazz, and I fell in love with none of them.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. How long did it take for you to discover hip hop choreo?
Hip hop choreo actually ended up being around middle school and high school, and it ended up not being from the studios. It ended up being from lived experiences from family parties, music videos, the music that my brother was exposed to at that time. Same thing with my older brother, Gary. And it was their music, and it made me love that vibe. And it was because of also the traditional family parties. The DJ would be playing this R&B and hip hop music. And Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson, and watching the Grammy Awards and TRL and you know, the throwbacks that not a lot of this generation would know, because it's you know, you would have to use VHS to rewind and rewatch these videos so you could get the choreography on point. And so I'm very honored to be a part of that generation. And yeah, that's how I was exposed to commercial hip hop. But then I wanted to dig a little deeper. And once I got into college, I met Marisha Griffin, who is part of Lux Eterna, who is a colleague of Amy Cat Fox.
Oh, shit.
There's a connection.
Yeah.
And it was because of Marisha Griffin. She introduced me to breaking. She introduced me to locking, the fundamentals of hip hop. And I fell in love with each dance form And because of that, I wanted to dig a little deeper, and I decided as soon as I was done with college, I would audition for Antics. And Antics made me educate myself in hip hop history a little bit more, hip hop education, and also be a part of it during the tours. And it was a great experience. And ever since then, I just wanted to dig a lot deeper. So thank you to Monsell Durden. I was digging more into the history. I got my books. I got more into the conferences. I got more into the conventions. I dug a little bit more in the dance community. I did my research that every dancer I recommend should do to find their niche. And it was a blessing. And I think that's what got me into being the professor I am today. And I am very blessed to be a part of that journey. And throughout that, I became involved in the industry, in the choreographic world, and also becoming a stage director. And it's been a huge blessing.
How did you get from like, most people would obviously want to go to the other dancing shit. But how did you want to become a professor? Because that's not exactly sexy.
It's not. I will say that it's not, but I wanted to, because we already know that dance studios, they have this freedom of wanting to go whenever they need to, or if they want to. And I wanted to develop a connection to people a little bit more long term. And yes, it comes out as like they just need this unit to graduate. It comes out to be like, yo, college professors, I'm all like, what do they know? It's taboo. Like they're old school. They're like, they don't know shit that's happening. And I'm just like,
they don't know.
They don't. And like,
they don't know hip hop.
They don't know hip hop. And unfortunately, there has been experiences where I have seen that a lot of hip hop professors don't know, and it's true. And it's
so true.
It's so true. And I wanted to break that stigma. I wanted to be like, yo, college professors can still be active, can still know their history, and we need to. And also, as college professors, we need to let that ego go sometimes and be like, we were students first. And we need to understand that, like, also students are evolving. It's true. The class of 2019 is not the same thing as 2020. Same thing with 2020 is not going to be the same thing as 2021. Yeah. It even made me adjust a lot more to when I graduated in 2007 and I had to teach class of 2013. It was a different generation. And so I had to adapt to that. I had to be like, what is the in and now? How can they appreciate this class now, but also acknowledge digging a little deeper, and how can hip hop history and hip hop dance actually connect to their discipline? And it became a form of life. And I absolutely loved that theory that the discipline of dance can relate to all walks of life. The discipline of hard work not just caters to dancers, but it caters to all different workers, whoever's business owners, entrepreneurs, whoever wants to succeed in the medical field, whatever it is, you need to work hard to get to that dream job. And it's not easy. And I also wanted to portray that, like, yo, like, professors know what's up. They really do. And even though they are trained into that old school life, they still add value to your learning. And that's definitely something I want to keep while teaching my students.
Not bad for someone who's tipsy, right?
I hope that's cut.
No, I'm keeping that so.
Damn it!
But
you always catch me when I'm tipsy.
So if you guys I recorded a previous episode a while back with a Q&A episode, so make sure you guys go check that out. But okay, so you wanted to become a professor and all that, but like you weren't driven to do any of the backup dancing stuff or become a choreographer for any of the shows? I
would have to say my biggest passion, because within research, I already knew my body type and my height was not going to become Beyonce's dancers.
God damn, the typecast.
Let's be honest. Yeah, it's true. I'm a Filipino American, 5'2" girl, and also slightly wider in the hips, and that's okay. I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be that background dancer. However, my biggest goal was to hit Disney, was to hit Nickelodeon, was to hit some of those stages or theme parks. And because I knew that was my look, and I was definitely okay with. And at the end of the day, I didn't see myself as a background dancer. If I were to choose, if you asked me who would you choose to be your background dancer, it would be Aaliyah.
Ooh, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Aaliyah, because it was because of her message, because of her style. And like, but yes, I would say if you look at her dancers from Are You That Somebody or Try Again, it was definitely people who were her same body type. It was her height. And I will admit to that. But that would be the artist I would love to work with because it was all grooves at the end of the day. And right. And it felt good. And her music made me feel good. Yeah. Rather than wanting to be a dancer for somebody that I'm like, yo, I don't relate to your music. Why would I try? Yeah. It's true. And so, but I know I relate to Disney because that is my childhood. I relate to Nickelodeon because I'm just goofy like that. But I know I look like that kid and I'm okay with that. And so I want to tell dancers that like acknowledge your strengths, acknowledge your looks, you know where you want to go and also know what you're worth. And I know I'm not worth background. Did
you kind of struggle accepting that, or were you just like I know, like, or did you already acknowledge it? Like, whatever, it's not what I wanted anyways.
You know, I did want to be a background dancer eventually, but because I already knew that in order to be successful, you needed to dig a little deeper to research on who you're going against with, because the dance life is all about competition. You audition for a reason. You need to look the part. You need to typecast. You need to not how do you call it? Like, I don't know what the word is. I always forget, but you can't overcome or outdo the artist. You need to blend in. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't do that.
That's true.
I can't do that because no one looks like me. No one, I'm not the original typecast. And I'm very blessed to be a part of Go-To Talent Agency that I know that I do fall somewhere. I know I categorize in a roster somewhere, but I want to go beyond that. Like, I'm thankful for Go-To and I'm thankful for that journey that they have been giving me. But at the end of the day, it is your worth and it is what you provide and what you can cater to whoever relates to you. And that is worth more than being any background.
Yeah, that's a lot of fire advice for people who are aspiring to go into the whole dance industry or dance scene. And yeah, even now, I almost feel like the dance industry is, because at the time we're recording this, it's like 2021. Dance industry is fucking practically in its last legs. Yeah, like huge studios are getting closed. A lot of our friends from Disney and Universal getting laid off. Yeah. So it's like at this point, it's really tough industry to get in.
It is. And I will say this, that's one of the reasons why I created this podcast recently for Art, Essential or Not. And I wanted to hear different artists or it doesn't even have to be artists. Maybe it's like entrepreneurs or business people that did art in the past. And I don't want to be biased. I do want to know their stories of like, do you think that art is essential or not? And there's no right or wrong. I love knowing their stories, and it's not just their stories, it's a new stage. It's for once instead of because naturally dance is a voice. It's their way to express. But dancers were always known to be background, but you realize that each of those dancers that are dancing behind Janet Jackson, behind Christina, behind Chris Brown, they have their own lived experiences themselves. There's a reason why they got there. There's a reason why they wanted to get there. And those are the stories that I love digging into because those stories are the ones that really inspire people. It's not yes, the celebrity does add credibility. I will say that, but the journey is more.
Yeah. At the end of the day, a lot of people, especially with art, if people often see the end product for a lot of art in general, the end of a Netflix movie you watched is the end result of a final product of art. The building you're in is the end result of an architect putting together along with the contractors and whatnot. The end performance from a musician is, a performance on the Super Bowl or the song is the final product. No one ever sees the hard work that goes into what the artist put in. And art is everywhere when it comes, the building we're in had to be designed by an artist who understood many aspects of not just design, but also probably physics and math
Feng shui.
and all feng shui.
I'm gonna just add that. That's art. Okay, I don't care what you all think. It is art.
And there's a lot of the work that's a lot of people don't understand. And I feel like a lot of people more understand the traditional routes.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why. I feel like the marketing and the branding for such like lawyers and doctors, those are great trades to be in or careers. But I feel like it's like people can acknowledge the amount of work that's put into it. But at least in this moment in time, people are barely noticing the amount of work that goes into art.
Yeah.
It's like it's a
process.
I feel like we're in the beginning conversations, and I feel like it might be another 10, 20 years where it's respected at the same level as a lawyer or a doctor.
I personally think it's starting to get respected. I will say this, it took a long time for my family to finally acknowledge that, like, yo, she did it. But I also think this is also a generation of dancers expanding their knowledge of not just dance.
Yeah.
Because this pandemic has drastically changed so many different avenues of performance that we're all in this pathway of accelerated rate where we're starting to acknowledge different things about our talent. Like some dancers are like, we know someone like for example, like Megan and Lisa, incredible bakers, but they're amazing dancers.
Also amazing dancers.
Amazing
Shouts
dancers.
out to Megan and Manny.
Yeah.
Had their pecan pie.
Let's go, boo.
For fucking Thanksgiving.
You better work. Yeah.
Make sure you go check it out.
It's like that. Like also dancers like Emeroy are videographers and content creators. My husband and I are all of a sudden on to finances. It's crazy where dancers are still striving for the passions. On top of that, adding a different hustle, which they know will benefit also in the long run.
Yeah.
It's blessing. It really is.
Do you think dancers are ever going to find a place where it's like a traditional job? Like like the plan I shared with you earlier with Temper Tantrum. But do you think, I mean, that's just one potential future. But do you think it would ever happen as a mainstream thing?
Oh man, I'm constantly fighting for that. I'm constantly fighting for that.
I'm both fighting for it.
But we all know that when we are giving our artistry, it really isn't consistent. It's consistent for us to keep going, but will people notice it? Will people invest in it? Will people acknowledge it the same rate as your other one or the previous one or the future one? We just never know. It's a constant gamble. And so it really is. And all we can do, I'm not going to lie, my biggest competition isn't people. My biggest competition is I hate him. Like my biggest competition is one-upping my previous piece. And that gets harder and harder every time. But then I came to a point where I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to make me feel good. I'm going to just do me. And rather than competing, like it's got to be better than the previous one, I'm just going to say what's from the heart. And Emeroy even saw that, like, not my recent one, but it was something that I did portray in 2019, like somewhere around October or November.
The dance studio one?
Yeah. I utilized rehearsal footage as a concept video because of the memories that was taken away from us that was supposed to be planned before this pandemic. And it also touched many hearts because studios were closing because people don't think it is essential. People couldn't afford to run their own dance studio business anymore.
Yeah, it's not just closing because of the lockdown, closing as in out of business.
Out of business. And it sucks. Yeah. And I'm an advocate for that because I'm like, we need to keep this art striving or all of that because not everyone, even though I do find that this online platform is going somewhere, it is helping, but it's not for everyone. Yeah. You know, it's still giving me an adjustment on how to teach online, of course. So, but yeah, like it's so crazy that I really think that for those who are future dancers who are trying to get into the field, I say consistency is key. And this is the time to start building your reels, start doing headshots, start building your brand in some way, shape, or form and not being afraid of what you want to share to the world, you know?
I mean, how would they even do that if they're locked down?
Well, you do. I'm being completely honest. Like, there's got to be some footage back in the day or even before this pandemic where you filmed yourself, right? Doing dance. Even you just freestyling in your living room. If you're part of a program, a goal setting program, and they ask you to dance, post that. You know, don't be afraid of posting who you are, because for a fact, I'm not, especially with my artistry. With finances, that's a different story, but that's a different subject. You know, I'm growing in that one, and I'm thankful for that. But for dance, I've been doing this for years, and it's definitely a huge passion of mine to tell dancers to, like, just keep going. Even if you feel so insecure, if it doesn't look good, the fact that, like, if you tell the audience, like, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, I just wanted to share this to the world, they're going to acknowledge that, and you have supporters regardless.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't choreographed anything in, like, outside of locking or breaking in a long time. You saw that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. It was kind of nice to get some positive feedback. Yeah. So I think vulnerability is something that's scary and powerful at the same time, because it can have such a negative connotation, because vulnerability means allowing yourself for, in a sense, attack, but vulnerability also leaves you an opening for acceptance and embrace.
And speaking of vulnerability, and this is definitely, and I don't think Emeroy knows this, but if you think about it, you guys, when you perform in a group, you blend, and you're proud of showing how you with this group show.
Yeah.
But we're in this pandemic where we cannot be with a group at this time.
Yeah.
And the only person that is accountable and who you can film is just you. Mm-hmm. So they're only watching you. Mm-hmm. And I need to grasp that too. I'm not going to lie. Like, TikTok videos, I'm just like, what the fuck am I going to do? Even Reels, I'm just like, what the hell am I going to do? And I too need to push my boundaries, because I'm so used to vibing with a class.
Yeah.
I'm so used to vibing with people. And it's true. Filming just yourself is a vulnerable place. And
there's also Snapchat Spotlight.
Oh my God, is there a Spotlight now?
Yeah. So just telling you guys, like, everyone's on the whole Reels and TikTok thing. There's also Snapchat Spotlight.
So Snapchat, you on that too?
Well, yeah, because apparently Snapchat's giving a portion of $1 million for the highest viewed Spotlight video.
Well, I'm not gonna do that unless we like slap somebody. Like, slap it and then we'll get $1 million, I guess, because people love that shit.
I mean, I don't know. By the time this comes out, I don't know if it's still happening, but that's what Snapchat is currently doing now.
Oh my God.
So,
and he's talented. I have no idea what it is about marketing, and he's living my biggest dream. My biggest dream was to eventually pay my dancers, and I have once, but he paid Temper Tantrum, and not with his money. It was like, oh my God. It was literally like from the community. It was from donations. It was from Patreon. And I was like, that's inspiring.
This is from the Kickstarter, yeah.
It's inspiring. He's living the dream. And I already knew that when you guys are a choreographer and you want to pay your dancers, you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You just can't. You need people like Emeroy. You need a board. You need, like, it's good that you are that creative, but you need those people who are not on the creative and more logistics side to keep you on track, because you're only focusing on the creative. And that's something that I wish I did with Lavad, was as creative as we were, as fierce as we were, I wanted to pay my dancers, but there was no way of doing that. And I was like, well, how can I do this? But Emeroy figured it out, and he's amazing. I mean,
I would consider I consider myself an artist who figured out the business end.
Yeah.
Like, because those of you who don't know, I graduated with a degree in animation.
so amazing.
And then I worked in the video game and movie industry for a bit. Then I started my own. Then I became a personal trainer. Just keep it simple. Then I started my own marketing. I started marketing as freelance, and then I started my marketing agency, and now I started another dance company with Temper Tantrum. And then, but either way, it was like, I knew the stuff that I had to do in regards to the success I was envisioning. There was a lot of parts that I didn't understand that I had to, much like how John is obsessing with the mini parts with your business. I had to do that as well. Mm-hmm. I had to understand the importance of attention, email marketing, digital marketing, SEO, and all that stuff. So that's where it led me to where I am now. So one thing I was curious about Lavad, tell me a little bit about Lavad, conception, everything. Because I know, I'm pretty sure some people are going to be from Levad who are currently on Temper Tantrum are going to be curious about this.
Well, I will just admit that.
Y'all little bitches. That's what y'all are. I'm just kidding. Love you guys. Because you're currently on Temper Tantrum too.
No, I will say this. Oh my god, stupid. Cosmic has been a huge blessing in my life, and they were the very first dance crew that was exposed to me in college, and I loved every moment of it, being their president and being one of the co-founders. But there was a moment in my life also when I not only was I training with Cosmic, but I started getting more involved in the industry, and that was when I started becoming a Debbie Reynolds intern at that time. And I started questioning whys. Like, why do we need to do this? Why do we need to do that? Why do we need to do this? And nothing was wrong with any of the answers that they gave me. It was for the good of the team. And I give mad respect to that. But that also showed me that like, I should start going on my own to experience other things. And there was nothing wrong with that. If any of you have had hostile feelings of that, I apologize. But in order to grow, you need to leave the nest.
That's true.
And I'm a strong believer of that. I'm not that type of, I'm also with that with my students. I'm kind of like, if you took everything from me, then there's no longer anything that I can teach you. It's time for you to grow and find something else. And I love that because I'm just always forever thankful that I was a part of my students' journey. That's what matters to me even more. And so after that, after Cosmic, I waited a good year or two to figure out like what exactly is my niche and my style. And as soon as 2016 hit, specifically January of 2016, I just posted a friendly post about like whoever's interested of doing an all femme squad, hit me up. And our first rehearsal was this day, and 25 to 35 people showed up.
That's a pretty good turnout.
And I was like, oh shit. I did not expect that. And
were you overwhelmed?
I was excited because this was the first time I was creating and conducting a squad of my own. Now, the thing that really got me like I had to take out was I could not perform in it. That was the biggest sacrifice I had to do.
Did it like, oh, that sucks? I was like, oh, I don't have to perform.
Well, so remember that 2 year span that I was like I before Levad, after I quit Cosmic, that was my time to be like, let me get used to the fact of not being in my pieces. So I created an all guys piece and an all girls piece, but I wasn't in it. Oh. And that trained me to be like, okay, I don't have to be in my pieces. So I decided to create a bigger squad, and Levad came to play. And thank you to Cameron Shim, Tim, and Jonathan Kim for helping me find that name. And Levad is a French name that means something about burlesque in theater. And I was like, I like that name. Okay, let's keep it. And I was just like, Levad. And I was like, and it ended up being a really good squad for years, for a good two years. It was one of the fiercest squads I've ever got myself involved in. And it taught me how to be a leader. It taught me how to be this choreographer. It taught me how to be my own leader. But it also taught me like, I'm overwhelmed. It taught me to be like, it was just me. It taught me like, holy shit, I am all alone. And at the same time, it taught me like, you probably are a control freak, Liz, and you shouldn't be here. And and I'm like, oh, how am I doing this by myself? And I already knew that I was such a good creative. And keeping a squad together and bringing people together, because that was my biggest goal. I love bringing people together, but bringing in that income, marketing, the other logistics that I'm like, shit, I had no idea in. That's why I would have to say Temper Tantrum is a huge success, because
it's only not even our first year. Our first official year would happen on 20 days from now.
No, and it's true. Like Temper Tantrum, like I'm thankful to be one of their artistic directors, because like, and look, they got paid. I'm just like, oh, the dream. And I'm thankful I'm a part of that dream, because I personally didn't pay them, but I was involved in a squad that got paid. You know, I'm thankful for that. And it's because of Emeroy.
In the next rehearsal, you guys will give in. You guys will pass out the checks.
Oh, I hope so. And so, but Levad was kind of like my breakaway from being in a squad, and I wanted to be that choreographer. And it's because of Levad I built a name for myself.
Yeah, you did. You really fucking did.
And I'm thankful. And you know, like, I've accepted that, like, hey, not everyone probably agreed with my direction skills, and I will learn from that, of
Fuck
course.
you guys. I'm just kidding.
But it's true though. Like, not everyone's gonna be satisfied by the way I direct.
That's true. You can't win them all.
I can't, you know, and it's okay. And I learned from that, and I apologize if I did hurt anybody, but in reality, I was not a competitive team.
That was such a the choreography you put was such a far cry from competitive choreography too.
Far cry?
Far cry meaning super different.
Oh. I was like, what do you mean by far cry?
They were far but crying.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. But it's like, it's not like the typical stuff you would see from the competitive crews of like FanBiz or GRV or Choreo Cookies or anything like that.
It's not the same.
It's super different.
Super different. And they also felt good doing the choreography. Yes, they were tired and exhausted, but it was very memorable in my opinion. And I loved the last 2 years, and I loved where I left it. I left it at, I believe our last performance was at City Walk.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, damn, this is one hell of a way to go to
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of that launch of our last show, I booked the job of being City Walk's exhibition dance director. And I'm very thankful for that.
What do you call it? So how were you approached? Like right after you finished, like walking off stage, the guy just hit you up? Like, hey, dance person, he hired right now.
Well, thank you to Stuart. He said we are going to talk again, and he kept in touch. He kept in touch with me, and he ended up being a really good friend of mine. And he's super amazing, so inspirational, human, and yeah, I'm thankful that I was able to. And I'm not gonna lie, I also have to give mad props to Walter Moran because Walter, he introduced me, or he gave me the name of Stuart.
Oh, yeah. I mean that your story is a kind of a really classic case of like what happens if you take a chance on yourself and you bet on yourself in like the long term. I will
always give credit to where everything started.
Because the way you were running rehearsals, I would not have known it was your first time like running a whole crew like that. Because I was like, I took bits of like how you organize rehearsals and implemented it for myself.
Well, I will say this. I learned from Cosmic, but I wasn't the greatest at it. And then I was like, let me refine this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment, like I can say the same when I was running FanBiz. So there was elements I knew I needed to work on running FanBiz. And I knew, I felt like I was refining that.
There's an agenda.
Yeah, especially with early days of Temper Tantrum when it was just a project. Because the only reason Temper Tantrum exists is because of her.
You're welcome.
So she's like, in a sense, like the godmother, like Temper Tantrum godmother.
Fairies.
So that in a sense of, because you invited me to do the solo show. So
Emeroy has been the consistent solo of exhibition.
Solo choreographer. Like the first one I did was a solo. I was scared because I was like, "Fuck, man! Did I say yes?" You said no. The second time I said yes because you're like, "Oh, I need locking." I'm like, "Fuck!" I'm like, after that fucking the City Walk one when I did my solo. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't have to. I hit City Walk.
That stage. You're
like,
done.
I'm good. And he's like, "No, we need locking." And I was like, "Can your ass fucking do locking?" And she's like, "No, I'm busy directing." You motherfucker.
But you gotta admit that stage of City Walk is not like any other stage.
Yeah, it's small.
I'm
just kidding. But it is also like the crowds come like in and out, but the crowds once they start gathering, it's fucking like
it's huge.
It's fucking huge.
It's huge.
Like it's like a mini concert.
It's a mini concert every single time.
So yeah, so that's kind of like the catalyst of it. Like I started the first one where I brought in a lot of people. Same people came in for the next one, and people wanted it, and that's one of the reasons I did Temper Tantrum was because the group wanted it, and I was like,
they wanted City Walk again.
They because I didn't want any, and those of you who listen to the podcast plenty of times, right? You guys know that I didn't want any form of responsibility leading a dance company because it's just a lot of responsibility and running a business and trying to be a dad. And the only way I was gonna continue Temper Tantrums was if we found a way to make it profitable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Temper Tantrum, but we'll see how it goes. A lot of opportunities are coming from Crystal's side and other sides, so we'll see where it goes. Yeah, it's a company. So it's a company now? Company! Yeah. Company! 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 You guys suck. Alright, I'll see you. Jordan, tell your dad company. Say company to your dad. Yeah. Company! Company! I love you guys. I'll see you guys over there and on Friday. All right, let's go freestyle. I want
because the whole business side, like time, and I didn't want to just go make a glorified hobby that took a million hours. Because of those of you who have experience with running a team or choreographing, it takes time, and it sucks to not get paid for that. So that became like the objective. One of the objectives for Temper Tantrum is to make it a profitable dance company and somehow make it my dream for it to be is one of the first dance companies that pay it like a regular company, where there's entry level, senior level, mid level, the C-suite and all that stuff, like a traditional business but for dancers. And I mean, how awesome would it be to interview, send your resume, and kind of like this is the style you can do, and then because Temper Tantrum's kind of versatile, and that's what we're aiming for. Versatile, and we do like you can fit a kind of like a certain thing we go for.
It's inspiring. He had this all planned out. I didn't. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great, and that's why you need a board.
And I think that's one thing too. Like I've learned from FanBiz, is when I led FanBiz on my own from 2004 to 2007. I was on my own, and when I brought Mark,
Mark Miranda,
when I brought him back on right after he graduated high school and brought in some other people. It was a huge stress reliever of other people choreographing, other people booking things, other people. It was just the best part. So obviously going into Temper Tantrum, taking in that lesson, like bring in people that who can get the job done. So I know choreography and all that stuff. I did as much as I enjoyed it with my part. I'm like, I'd like to keep it minimal, and I give it to you, whoever else in Temper Tantrum, and Brandon. And then I just want to focus on the business logistics, obviously, because that way, at the end of the day, I feel like my job is to build our brand, but make us profitable and somehow have us continue earning money. Because my dream is to make this to make, I guess, a living wage or living income from this.
No, yeah, you're right.
Because when you guys are going to see the video soon, when I do the compilation of the dancers receiving their checks and some of them tearing up, I'm like, damn, how and a lot of them saying they earned $100 out of it. Even she said that. It's crazy because it's it shows how undervalued dancers are.
I'm so proud of Emeroy for doing that. He took my dream away from me. It's okay. but not necessarily. I will say this, I'm thankful for Emeroy because I have been part of gigs where the choreographer, if the artist paid, but it was so minimal. But Emeroy, he paid his dancers oh my God, it was so beautiful. And I'm just hell yes. And I'm just thankful that someone's got to do that. It may not be me, but it's definitely someone that I know that I hold dear to did that. And that's why whoever's trying to create a company like this where your goal is to pay your dancers for their services, you can't just do it by yourself. You need the creatives. You need the business side. You need the logistics. That's why a board is essential in a dance community. It's important. You can't do everything. I mean, hey, if you can, amen to you. But I know in my journey, I didn't know how.
That's such a hard pill to swallow.
It really is.
Because it's that you can't do everything.
You can't do everything.
Because that means having to rely on others. And then that means admitting your weaknesses. So.
Yeah, Emeroy choreographed 4 counts of 8. That's all he did. But he directed the whole entire thing. On top of that, worked on like trying to get us compensated. He had Brandon and I, like mostly Brandon, I will say, I just assisted, incorporating our artistry within the temper tantrum. We also had the amazing Crystal, that's the logistics, keeping that family together. And you need those people. You really do. And like, that's definitely something like I wish I did with Lavad, because I mean, I wanted Lavad to be paid, but I will say this, I'm thankful where we went to, because
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
I will say that. Yes, I'm thankful to the stages we went to, but yes, there was no compensation, but it was a beautiful experience that I know I can't replace.
It was a really cool experience. Like no other company what have I ever performed on the Clippers floor, the Lakers
floor.
Fuck. And the Nike 3-on-3.
3-on-3.
Shit, those are epic. So, and then perform on Carnival for multiple times. So that was a really great opportunity. Jetée. Yeah. So
Love you, Tiffany. Love you, Carrie. Love you, Paulette. But I'm like, yo, it's late.
But yeah, so that's definitely one thing that we're talking. The goal is to pay my dancers. What they do with it ultimately is up to them, which is something that Liz and I were talking about, which is have like financial literacy for dancers, because it's definitely, I think, a gap in the market in regards to.
Oh, and catch Emeroy in my podcast very soon too.
Oh yeah. So make sure you check that out. It's like, what do you think are some of like the more common mistakes that dancers don't get when it comes to handling their money? It's because dancers are living gig to gig,
paycheck
not
to
consistent.
paycheck.
It's not like, unless they have a part-time gig or whatever that brings in consistent. But a lot of them are living on that hustle pre-corona. But even then, like, what are some of the what are some of the mistakes that you see them do? Don't do?
I mean, everyone needs to handle their money a lot more. I mean, that not just dancers, just everybody. But I think it really starts with the spending habits. It starts there. Like, not going out so much, like, I'm being honest, not going out to eat so much with your friends, like learn how to cook, not shopping so much, not like, oh, I need shoes to dance. I'm all like, no, you have shoes to dance. You've been surviving off of that. You don't need new things until it's completely gone. Like really being more resourceful and really knowing what you need and what you want. So it starts with the spending habits first. And then here's another thing that I really want to share to the whole world is that, like, yes, know and learn about not just where you're spending your money and not just how you're budgeting your money, but where you are putting your money. And you really need to be careful and educate yourself with money. And that's the one thing that me and my husband really wanted to do was, if we were to earn more money, even though we're blessed to where we are, we're educating dancers or college students, and he's doing physical therapy. We are great with money and we are blessed with money and we know what to do with our money. But the one thing that we wished we did back in our 20s or even in our teens, I'm being honest, is to really value it a lot more.
Yeah.
Learn about the 401k, learn about the Roth IRA, learn about like tax-free taxes, the different accounts that they offer. Yes, it sounds boring and you're like, yo, I'm not going to need this, but I'm all like, you guys, you invest your money in classes. You invest your money in shoes. You invest in money in trainings. You invest in so much money just for the choreographer to notice you. You have to learn where your money is going and learn to control where your money is going and take ownership of that money. And the one thing that I really want to share with dancers is you're going to constantly invest being that professional dancer. Mm-hmm. You're going to constantly invest. And yes, go for it. Invest. Get those headshots, get those reels, get those auditions, nail it. But once you get that dream gig, what is the plan? That's the question I want to ask all my dancers. Yeah. What is your plan? Because if you're going to just spend all of it on something, you need to replan.
Yeah. Just put all that in. Fucking put it to rent or put it on some.
Yeah. And I'm just like, my business with my husband is just to educate our dancers in different vehicles, diversifying their portfolios, knowing where to put their money and investing in the right places. Because I'm being honest, my family never taught me that.
Yeah.
And the only advice, and it was useful advice, I will say this, was don't spend what you don't have. And they are absolutely right. But that's all they told me. When I'm like, there's a strategy to it. There's a game to it. Just like how you guys are investing, you know the game on how to get noticed with your choreographers. You know the game on how to invest in getting those headshots and getting those reels to get noticed, to promote yourself as a dancer.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with finances. It's the same exact thing. And my husband and I just want to create that safe space for all of you dancers to discuss finances, because you will get there. You will, because finances is everywhere. You're saying like, no, finances isn't everything, but I'm kind of like, this camera that I'm talking to right now.
This camera I'm using is $1,200.
There you go.
It's rent for some people.
The the where you're watching me on YouTube right now, that costed money. The YouTube, no, but the phone or the tablet or the computer you are watching me right now has to do with money. The place, like look around, the four walls, that's money. So it's not everything, no, but it is a part of our lives.
Covers a lot of things.
It does. And we just want to be that safe space for you all. That's all we want to do, is just to educate, help you go and get to the next step with your finances, plus enhancing your artistry. That's all.
Because it's hard to be an artist, because I hate the term starving artist.
Yeah, no, I hate that.
That's one of the reasons like I didn't want to do temper tantrums. Like, I didn't just want to put a fucking starving artist.
No, we don't want to starve artists.
And I consider myself like a proud capitalist.
Yeah.
But like not in the sense of like, taking advantage of people, and more in the sense of like capitalizing on our gifts to be of service to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I fought really hard to make sure that my dancers were paid a fair rate. I pay my Vision Paradox employees at a rate that they deserve. And you want people to be happy with their artistry. It's different when you're an artist who's desperate versus an artist who is coming from a place of abundance. So the only way you come from abundance is not, you don't think about abundance and be like, oh, it's going to happen. You have to be able to take care of what's in front of you. Yeah. And if you don't, and it's, it's almost like, I know you motherfuckers have the chair or the bed where you throw all the clothes on there and you leave it. It's like that, and I have that too, but it's not until you take care of it, like all the dirty laundry, that it's, clean, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's the same. Like, I think it's many aspects as well. There's many aspects in our lives that our dirty laundry is just there. We're not taking care of it. So finances, I think, is just one domain of life. Obviously, personal health is one of it. Family, loved ones, mental health. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of aspects. It's going to be different for everyone.
Amen.
But it's definitely everything at least needs to be maintained, or at least acknowledged.
And I do go by this quote by Ed Milet that is really good, like really well known in our financial business. But he mentioned that like that normal quote that everyone says, like, don't work harder, work smarter. But he actually said he didn't believe in that. And I'm like, oh my God, so what does he believe in? He said like, yes, work smarter, but also work harder. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Well, it's because like you need to be smart with your money. You need to be a smart dancer whenever you guys are on that audition. You have to be smart with your finances and whatever it is that you're going to be prepared for live. You have to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally. That's just working smarter. But harder is because you're passionate about it. You want that job. This is something that you want to do for the rest of your life. Mm. And don't get me wrong, even though I'm adding this avenue of finances, I didn't give up on dance ever. I will never give up on dance. That's my first love. And and that's going to be my number one passion before finances. This is just like I said, we just want to be this bridge to create the safe space that like, hey, we are here for you if you need absolutely any help, because we've been through it.
Yeah, I think to bounce off work smarter, not harder, or it's flipping it to work smart then hard. It's the very same thing, being efficient versus being effective. Mm-hmm. A lot of people try to be efficient first before being effective. For example, if your job if you work in a kitchen is to wash dishes, and you're trying to become head chef, mm-hmm. you don't get to the next level by washing dishes faster.
No.
Or you your job is to be a choreographer, you know, you don't get to that. It's not effective to always be taking classes, because in that sense, you're always going to be a dancer. To be effective is to find the thing that moves the needle forward. So if you're working in the kitchen, working on the craft of cooking, so you can become a sous chef, or if you want to be a choreographer, choreograph every single day. So it's finding that. So that's working smarter. Then to be efficient is find what's effective and double it down. So if you're going to be effective choreographer, how can you be faster at putting out and creating output every single day? Because at the end of the day, as a choreographer, it's the choreography you put out. So can you do it once a week, twice a week, every single day? You increase your output, you increase your practice, you're effective and working harder at the same time. So be effective first before you are efficient.
Let's go.
So.
That's all I'm gonna say. Let's go.
So yeah, I mean, just to not confuse that, because a lot of people are working faster, but they're going nowhere fast.
Oh my gosh, we're a big believer of it's all about the quality, not quantity.
Yeah, because and that's one thing that I like to bring into Temper Tantrum, because we're doing a lot of these extra trainings. Like when I first started, like I don't want to do any extra training, so I'm like, you should be knowledgeable, at least in the craft. But that doesn't mean like we're close to adding additional trainings to better our company. Like if you want to bring someone to teach you guys a style, we'll do it. But we also want to add other things that will make them, I think, be not just a well-rounded dancer, but a well-rounded individual.
Yes.
Because like at the end of the day, like again, this goes back to me like, oh, I want to pay my dancers, but what they do with that money is up to them. I don't want to end up paying dancers, you know, say I'm paying them $1,500 a month and they're still fucking broke. What's the point of that then? So that's the point of it, like of having to teach them like how to handle their money. Because I know people who are earning some pretty good money, but fucking have shit spending habits.
Yeah.
And then and then other things I want to add for Temper Tantrum is obviously learning how to become their own personal brand. Because like I was telling you guys, I believe that the personal brand is going to be the ultimate leverage eventually in any future economy. For whether it's a micro influencer, nano influencer, it's going to give you leverage separate from the company you're working for. Because if you have a platform, you have attention, which is what people will buy. So, which is what I'm trying to do with Temper Tantrum. Like my idea, and I think, I don't know how often I've shared this. My idea is that everyone in Temper Tantrum is like a cast, like on Friends. Like, oh, that's a Joey.
That's a Joey. That's a Rachel. That's a Monica.
Yeah. So when people look at us, oh, that's a Liz, such a Liz thing to do. That's what I'm thinking, because ultimately people connect with personalities, which is why I'm doing the podcast.
I love that.
So, and then people buy into the personalities, and then people potentially buy merchandise or whatnot. But ultimately people buy into those personal brands, and those personal brands, you know, I want my dancers to have their own personal brands. So much so that they can eventually leave Temper Tantrum to do things on their own, because it's cool if they stay, even better if they leave, because they can, not because they suck, but to the point where they can support themselves, which is like, I don't know. It sounds weird because I don't think any employee or employer wants their employees to leave, but like I'd like them to be able to do that, because then
they got to grow eventually.
Yeah, because then they grew into their own thing and they blossomed out of it. But who knows? They're nice little things I'm imagining for the company. We're only like under a year in, but we got some nice wins. We got a Kickstarter funded. We got 2 films coming out. So, but yeah, shit. I mean, I guess this is like the start of the quote unquote start of the year. Is there anything you're excited for the year?
Oh man, this year is unpredictable, but I'm ready for it, honestly. Like, Emeroy knows I'm into spec ads right now.
Dude, I'm so jealous that you did that, because the minute you started doing it, because that was one of the things that Temper Tantrum did. Oh, I had in our like itinerary of projects. I'm like, oh man, she's already got it ahead of the game.
Yo, Emeroy killed it in the Nike. I will say this, my favorite one so far. As much as I love Nike and I love the truffle, like the New Year's one took me though.
The one with Stella?
Yeah.
Oh, that one's good. I really liked, because the cutting for that one.
The cutting was
really
smooth. Thank you, Chris Allen. Shout out.
Shouts out to Chris Allen, you brilliant fucking son of a bitch.
It was so good. And I was like, oh my God. It really got you into the feel of how it was back in the day, like in the clubs or just lounging around drinking wine. And so I would have to say the Stella Rosa spec ad was the hardest one for me. And thanks to Chris Allen, he was all saying like, so what is the purpose? What do you do on New Year's Day? Are we following the wine? And it was so great. Like Chris Allen had all these brilliant questions and I'm just like,
those are good questions, man.
I'm like, what do you think? But he pushed my boundaries and I think that's what every choreographer needs. A director needs to question the choreographer and envisioning this vision. And even if it was only for like a minute, it's
a lot of work for a minute too, huh?
It was a lot of work. I was exhausted and I'm like, oh my goodness, it was so good. And there wasn't any dance scenes. It was movement. But there was no dance scenes and I loved it. I'm like, oh my goodness, Emeroy, we have to do this for PayPal. We have to do this for Venmo. Like all these apps. I am so down. But yeah, it was a great experience just to, that you can create for something more.
Yeah. I think that doing these spec ads definitely like opened us up for a variety of things. Cause there's a lot of people doing concept videos, but they're not exactly like a lot of people are doing it.
No,
that's the thing. It's overly saturated. I wouldn't be surprised if the next 5 years from now, people are starting doing their spec ad concept videos for fun. Because it shows proof of concept and it shows initiative. Because a lot of these companies, they would much rather be presented an idea that's practically like 80% done, and rather than them try to figure it out. I think that's a leg up when it comes to trying to present an idea or pitching an idea to any brand. A part of it is apart from like having your own audience, but if you have an idea, shoot,
roll with it.
Yeah, and make it happen.
Make it happen.
I think was it Edgar Wright?
Yeah.
There's a couple of directors that I follow. A lot of them. He was the director of Hot Fuzz. No, not Hot Fuzz.
Oh my God, Hot Fuzz. The Police.
Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver. Have you seen that one? And Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
Great.
Scott Pilgrim was great.
Like all he did when he first started filming, or before he went even to film school, was he just started filming his own indie films in his own town.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And it was like, all he did was try to emulate the directors he liked. And then I think, there's a whole saying of imitation is the best form of flattery. I think it's also a great form of, learning how the directors think. Like sometimes when I'm writing certain things, I rewrite the same sentence from certain authors, because then while you're writing it, you're in your head thinking it and then you're processing it.
Yes. It's the creation. It's the creative process. It's beautiful.
It's the same thing with learning choreography. In the sense you're learning the thinking process from the choreography. And
we're also applying that to finances too. It's so crazy.
So yeah, everything.
It comes full circle.
You ready for some rapid fire questions?
Oh shit, sure.
Okay, so we're heading towards the last segment of the podcast. So you ready?
Okay. I'm a little nervous, but okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to find.
What time is it? Oh my God.
It's 2:12.
Whoo! This is way past my bedtime.
Yeah, we're gonna sleep in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you teaching tomorrow?
No.
Sleep in.
Sleep in.
Okay. What is something you're obsessed with?
I'm obsessed with my dog.
I see that. That's true.
I'm obsessed with my dog, Fudge. Don't judge me. I see you, Diego. I see you. All of you. All of you. Yes, I is obsessed with my dog. I love her.
What's the most rage-inducing game you've ever played?
Oh, Mortal Kombat. I'm gonna be real. It doesn't matter which one. Like, I love Mortal Kombat. It gets me hype. I love playing Melina.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I played that with Maxine. I lost because of bullshit.
I love Melina. She's a villain and she's the twin of Katana, so I'm down.
All right. So what kind of things do you think are normal now, but you think will be valued antiques a century later?
Zoom.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think Zoom. Zoom is so needed right now. And it's helped businesses. It's helped us communicate, and it's going to be considered an antique.
Because we're going to have like holograms maybe or
I
VR.
think so too. I think so too.
Shit. That's a good one. Okay. What dumb thing did you believe for a really long time?
Santa Claus. I would be absolutely.
Wait, how old were you? Did you believe in Santa
I'm going to be
Claus?
honest. I believed in it until I turned 29.
No.
John ruined the dreams for me.
Really?
Yeah.
You really believe in Santa Claus?
I really
until
believed
29?
until I was 29.
No one told you.
No one told me.
How did that go?
So my family played it really well. Yeah, I'm for real. My family played it really well. So they actually left me a note, but I thought it was from Santa Claus. Santa Claus left me a note saying, like, you know what? You are older now. I need to now take care of the other kids that are in need, but your family and your loved ones will definitely take it from here.
Wow.
So I
That was
believe
nice.
Santa was a real thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'll take that. Santa Claus is real. And he told it like it was. I'm just too old now. And it's up to that. And then on a road trip to helping Mariko move back from Utah, John literally said like, oh yeah, my family was Santa Claus. Like, yeah, they told it. And then I literally was like, Santa Claus is not real?
I wish I could confirm this with John right now.
John,
He's probably sleeping.
John's sleeping, but he ruined it. And I really thought Santa Claus was real for the rest of my life.
Oh my god, I always wondered what would happen to an adult that believed it. Okay,
I really thought Santa Claus was real. Don't judge me. I really thought until John told me that it was this family. Santa Claus isn't real. It's a figment of imagination. And, you know, parents have to go along with it. And then I'm just like, wow, I believed in that for 29 years.
Wow. I love you.
Shut up.
Next question is if you were a ghost, how would you haunt?
Oh, how would I haunt?
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh man, I'm not sure. I never thought of that. But recently, this is something that I would use. So, you know, the Tesla? There was a recent TikTok where you're parked at a cemetery and you would see a person, like, you know, like you would actually see in the hologram that a person's passing by or a car is passing by.
Yeah.
You see a person pop out, but in the cemetery, you don't see it. Have you ever seen that?
What?
Do I need to find that hologram? Hold on, where's my phone? I was like, where's my phone? I'm trying to find it. You've never seen that before.
No.
Oh, it's a class, and I'm gonna like really quickly. Oh, it's genius. This way.
Oh my god, this one.
I would haunt that way.
That's fucked, dude. I don't like the soundtrack right now.
I hate the soundtrack.
That's
It's the
fucking
soundtrack, but
spooky,
it's
man.
just like, it's genius.
Oh my god. Okay, next question. If you could change your name, what would it be?
Oh no. I love my name. Even though people say it wrong, I will not change my name. I love Liezel Marie. Thank you, Mom.
What would they say? How would they?
They would call me Liezel, Liesel.
Liezel Marie. I'm gonna fucking make you into a meme now. Into Liezel
I hate you all.
Marie.
I love my name. I'm gonna keep it that way.
What's one of your favorite memories?
Doesn't matter what.
No.
Oh shit. That's hard. That's hard. I have a lot of good memories.
We're just gonna have to pick one now.
I would have to say one of my best memories actually was like not recently actually, but the one that's clearest to my mind. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more now, but it was the last bow on City Walk stage with Levon.
Oh.
With Levon.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a memory.
Really good one. If you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time?
If I didn't have to say extra time,
What would you do with the extra time?
oh man. Probably work on the damn YouTube videos you've been trying to like force me to do. No, I think I would use that time to, since majority of the day is work, I would use that time to self-care. Honestly, I would meditate. I would read a book. I would probably do my podcast and a lot more. I don't know. Like, that's a hard question. I would dance more. I'm not sure.
All right, 2 more rapid fire questions. What job would you be terrible at?
You know, it's funny. It used to be finances, but I started because I'm terrible in math. But I think I think construction.
Oh, God.
I would kill myself. I'm just bad luck with lifting wood, dealing with all that.
I mean, you seem to be doing well with John. Hey.
I hate him right now. I hate him right now.
Yeah, John. All right. Last rapid fire question. Where is your happy place?
My happy place? Oh, it's always going to be the studio. It's always going to be the studio because you could just, or I'll be real. I would have to say John and Emeroy might be the only ones that notice this because John has seen me behind the stage and Emeroy has seen me behind the stage right before you go on.
Oh,
he knows this. I sit smack in the middle of the stage right before we go on and just lie down there, stay grounded, listen to the audience just rumbling, just be in the moment that you know you're about to send a message to this audience regarding what it is. That place
God, I miss that.
is my happy place. And it's been a year.
It has been a year.
It's been a year since but you know what's so crazy? I can't do that with City Walk. That's another thing. I can't do that with City Walk because people see you.
Because they think you'd be some crazy lady.
Exactly. They might be like, who is this girl like sitting in the middle of the But like when you're behind that curtain, when you're just in the zone and you're just, no one's bothering you because all the performers know that you are in the zone. You just don't bother.
Yeah.
You just don't bother this person when you're in the zone. And as soon as the director says, all right, gather up, it's like right before that moment. You know, that's a happy place because, ooh.
Yeah, because you're like just embracing that moment, that little anticipation before you go on stage.
That's why like I can't, like the stage is just a forever place. Like I love content. I love creating concept videos. I love that. And it's such a great platform, but it's easily edited. Mm-hmm. Where on stage you can mess up. You can fuck up. But how do you blend? How do you hide that? How do you adapt? And so, or not just you, maybe your partner is also a malfunctioning. The whole squad is malfunctioning. What do you do? What do you do? And so I'm like, so there was a moment where our whole squad didn't malfunction. I think it was a shoe train. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was
just the simplest thing.
It was the simplest thing, but we fucked up every time. We fucked up every time. We're just like, why is this so hard? But it's that moment that I think that is my happy place. Cause you're just about to do something where you have no idea what the result is going to be until you do that final bow.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a great place to be.
All right. Ready for the last two questions?
Oh shit.
This is not rapid fire questions now.
Okay.
Okay. What was it? The first this is not the rapid fire segment is done. Now it's the last two questions I asked the Temper Tantrum members. First one is, what would you like people to say about you when you're gone?
Oh, when I die?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so when I die.
When you go to the bathroom and John and I talk shit about you.
I was like, it's so funny because you know how we're like talking about life insurance and like just like, like what do you expect? I expect a diamond coffin. But
oh my fucking God.
I love it. No. I think the one thing that I when I'm gone from this earth and what is the certain people that I want them to talk about is just how the experience Liz gave, like whether it was good or deep or like, I'm not sure if I wanted that. At least it made you think. I think I want to be known for giving you a meaningful or a transformational experience. Just like, and I have to thank John for that quote because of what we've been studying with finances. And it's true with dance. All I want to do is because a lot of my dancers that I teach at CSUN, a lot of them are non-dancers. So I do want to be like, just take one thing from me. And it even doesn't have to be dance. It could be a lifelong learning lesson. It could be something that you're going to take for the rest of your life or something that you're like, you know what? I'm not going to use that for the rest of my life, but at least you learned it from me. I love that. Yeah.
All right. Last question. This is called The Three Truths. Learned this from, it's from a podcast I got from Lewis House, School of Greatness.
Oh, shit.
Check it out. This is not a paid sponsorship or anything. It's a really cool question though. So you're on your deathbed, you're like 80 and, John's about to pull the plug on you.
It's so crazy because we know this might happen.
So
it's a guarantee in life, death.
But memento mori, death comes for us all. And all your work is gone. No content, none of it on YouTube, TikTok or anything. Then you're given a piece of paper to write down 3 pieces of advice to be successful, what would that be?
Oh man, I would have to say the one thing that I took from CJ Edwards. Thank you very much. I think the words that I will write will be inspired to impact.
2 more, you know that, right?
I have 2 more?
Yeah, the 3 things to be successful.
Oh, 3 things. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, inspired to impact, do it with purpose, and keep loving what you do.
Oh, good one.
That would be my top 3. So inspired to impact because you eventually do want to impact somebody that you know that is going to want to learn from you, regardless of whatever your artistry is. Do it with purpose, because if you have no purpose, what is the reason? And the third one is, like, keep loving what you do, because we live off of this world of like hustling and bustling and, making sure we do everything on time and deadline and all of this. And we start getting this burnout, but you tend to forget why you did it in the first place because you love it.
Yeah.
And you need to remember why you love it. So I think that's my top 3 things to be successful, is remembering why you love it, doing it with purpose, and inspired to impact.
That's good. All right. So where can people find you to stalk you and like your and comment and share?
Oh, follow me at LAYDEELIZ.
Lady Liz.
Lady Liz.
She's fucking straight up started spelling. It's a fucking spelling bee now.
At Lady Liz, LAYDEELIZ. And also follow Art, Essential or Not. Or
check out our podcast.
My podcast. Or if you're curious about learning about finances for artists or dancers all over the world, so we can help you create the safe space.
People all over the world.
Boom. Lorico Financial Literacy.
So that is it. If you guys liked it, all the links and whatnot are going to be in the description down below. Whether you're watching this on YouTube or on the Temper Tantrum channel or my channel or just listening to it on Spotify and whatnot, everything's going to be in the links down below. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you give her a follow. Hope you guys I think this episode was really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, share this with friends who you think might enjoy it. And that's it. Give her a follow, show them some love. And until the next episode of Throwing Tantrums or Move, Groove, Grow podcast, we'll see you guys in the next one. And
sorry, I'm just following what she's saying.
Take care. So we love you guys and having a great night, evening, morning, wherever the heck you guys are. Take care of each other, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, that was a good one.
Fuck it up.